tied with Joe Burrow for the highest among quarterbacks. Gator Baseball is looking at another elimination game, this one against North Carolina State this afternoon. Head coach Kevin O'Sullivan knows it's time to perform.
Honestly, we have no choice at this point because we've had every game was so meaningful.
Game time is 2 p.m. You can hear it live on 1010XL AM. That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
It's 85 degrees and 9:56 time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Huge deal for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. Let's get through the money particulars first, because this is a massive deal, as you mentioned. The new highest paid quarterback in the NFL alongside Joe Burrow. 5 years, $275 million. That is the deal that the Jaguars and their former #1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, agreed to.
Trevor looks. Moves to his left, still looking. Now he's going to run it to the 5, to the pylon. He dives. Touchdown. Trevor Lawrence goes for the pylon, and Jacksonville is in the end zone.
Trevor Lawrence has done everything he can to prove himself, not only being worth the #1 overall selection, but being the franchise quarterback for the Jaguars. His payday was coming.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is a new day. It's a new era in Jaguar football with the contracts being handed out. I am post-operative recovered. I'm good, man. Everything's good, Tone. I want to turn the page on all that. I'm happy to be back. I appreciate you, as always, holding things down when I'm not here. But
yeah, man, welcome back.
I was going to be a vacation anyway, just turned into a laying in bed for a week. But that's all good, man. I don't really care. You don't care about that. You shouldn't care about that. We're here to talk about Trevor Lawrence and that contract and the fallout from it and all that. Gibby's here with us. Good morning, Gibby. How are you?
Good morning, Mike. Great to have you back with us. It's an exciting time. Trevor Lawrence is the franchise QB.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, look, here's the thing, Tone, that really kind of heartened me a little bit. By the way, you got a heck of a tangle of wires going on right there, man. I don't know how that's all
got them all over the place.
I don't know what that's going to end up doing by the end of the show. But anyway, I went on VSiN yesterday. I might have even been on 1010. I'm not sure if we were carrying what we were carrying at the time. And I'll be honest with you. A buddy of mine, he used to be a producer at Sirius XM, hit me up, and he does a great job. He's gone far in the business. Dustin Sweetelson, if you listen to VSiN, he's one of their top personalities there. And he's like, hey, man, come on my show and let's talk Jags. And I misread it, and I thought it said 5:30 on Saturday, right? And I had a show from 3 to 5 on Saturday. I'm like, oh, this is fine. I'll be done 30 minutes later. And it was Sunday, you know. So wait around all Father's Day to do a 10-minute radio hit. But the bottom line was these two guys didn't even question for a second whether this was the right thing for the Jacksonville Jaguar organization to do. You know, which you hear, there's obviously a lot of that out there. Oh, well, if he got this, what's this guy going to get? I don't care what that guy's going to get. Do not get Jordan Love, get $80 billion. Don't care. Tua, get $100 million, get $30 million. I don't care. That's your problem now, Miami. You know, but I was really, for as much negativity or, like the statistical comparisons out of context, Trevor Lawrence versus this guy, how can you give him all this money? Because do you want me to go down the checklist? And we've all done it. He's 24 years old. He's shown the talent. He's shown the leadership ability. Look, people are saying, oh, well, you're certainly not paying him for what he's done. Isn't that the problem with contracts so often, Tone? We pay guys. I say we, as if I've ever paid a guy a contract. But, people, ownership, management of different sports teams pay players based on what they've done in the past. Look at what I've done. This is what I deserve based on what I've done. Well, you've been paid for what you've done. Maybe you were underpaid. I don't know, but I'm not here. It's not my job to make up for what you didn't get in your last deal. They are absolutely paying him for future performance, and that is the way it should be. The expectation is Trevor Lawrence needs to be ascending into an elite tier of quarterbacks over the course of this contract. I'm not saying he has to be top 5 this year.
Right.
And I'm not saying just because the contract doesn't kick in for a couple more years that he gets a free pass for the next 2 years either.
Yeah.
It's all under one umbrella now, the next 7 years. And I saw what you posted something about, I've really enjoyed not looking at these kind of, quarterbacks coming out of the draft.
The quarterbacks.
Not going to have to do it again for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I fully endorse this deal getting done. And I get it. Trevor Lawrence has not proven to be whatever. But, okay, take all the statistical brilliance of Josh Allen. Take the multiple MVPs of Lamar Jackson. Those guys haven't gotten to the big game either.
No.
And is there any guarantee with Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the contingent of quarterbacks, including Trevor and Joe Burrow, in the AFC, that any of them will get there? No.
Yeah. I think the dominance of Tom Brady during the time that he was playing, and now the dominance of Patrick Mahomes, right, at the quarterback position is doing a lot to ruin the quarterbacks getting paid conversations around the league, right? You can look back this weekend on what the Jags got done with Trevor Lawrence and the deal that the Kansas City Chiefs got done with Patrick Mahomes. When they got it done, we had the conversation about it going, wow, that they managed to get a 10-year deal done with this guy at this price right now. Unbelievable work, right, from the organization to make that kind of thing happen. Well, now it looks even crazier. That Patrick Mahomes is on a contract that's paying him $45 million a year. Right? And he's still in the middle of it. Who knows when that's going to get redone, reworked, whatever's going to happen with the Mahomes deal. But it's unbelievable that they're halfway into this thing and he's done what he's done, right? And they still have, 6-7 years left of Patrick Mahomes under that deal. The Lawrence thing is interesting because it doesn't really kick in with the new money until 2 years from now. Like you said, It doesn't mean we're not judging the next 2 years with Trevor Lawrence. But the new money doesn't really kick in for a couple of years. And then it's funny to me. I understand why it would be reported the way it's been reported. Highest paid quarterback in the league. It's like, yeah.
On a new money average, and that's what they're looking at.
And by the time we get to where that new money's coming in, he's not going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league.
Roll in this year's salary, next year's salary with these 5 years on top and average it out over the next 7 years and see where you're at. And it's a lot lower than $55 million a year.
Absolutely. And look, it's the conversations we're going to have, and that goes into our question of the day today, right? It's about what it's going to mean for Trevor Lawrence to live up to getting this kind of money. They've made him the franchise quarterback. We all know what the expectations were talked about for Trevor when he got drafted here, right? And them getting the long-term extension done, I think, doubles down on the organization's confidence in the guy that they got, right? You can at least look at it from that perspective, and we talked about it a lot on Friday. I can't change the minds of the people who, that really small percentage of the fan base that wanted to see them move on, as soon as this year, right? The crazy people.
The move on people, right. I agree. Like, that's an extreme position. I do understand, intellectually, hey, we have him under contract for 2 more years.
I get it.
Why can't you wait another season? Well, they what's going to change in their mind for them with their belief in Trevor Lawrence? You can say, well, he could play terribly. They don't think he's going to do that.
No.
Right? And if you're making the bet on that side of the ledger that you think he's going to perform at X level or higher, then the price is not going to be cheaper next year.
No.
Even if you're tacking it on to the end. Well, at least we'd have more confidence. Okay, you would have more confidence maybe. And that's fine.
Yeah.
And you know what? For that segment of the fan base who said, we should have waited, maybe it'll work in the way that you saw it playing out. But the Jags absolutely don't see it that way.
Yeah, you is not we, right? And the organization has very much cast their vote and how they feel about Trevor Lawrence. And
what other vote was there to cast? Really?
It's the only one that really matters.
We talked about it on Friday. What are the odds in the next 7 years, if you don't re-up with Trevor Lawrence, okay, that he plays out, I guess, the next 2 years of his deal, or you trade him at some point, or whatever. I don't know what circumstance you would make the transition in. Trevor has been good enough the last 2 years to lead the Jags to 9-8 records. Okay, so let's say you're middle of the pack the next couple of years, haven't gone over the hump. good luck finding that quarterback with the 17th pick or the 20th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
That's going to be that guy that can lead. And you've got pieces ready now to win. This is a statement move by the organization, one of the biggest statements they've ever made, that this is it. This is the time. This is the guy. Everything is in lockstep and alignment. And how many years have we looked at this team and go, oh, man, just not bold enough, not a big, bold enough swing, right?
Yeah. Or when they try to go bold, the player they're trying to go bold with says, nah.
Right.
Right? Like, they've had so many of those opportunities over the past decade plus where they've had guys that they want to make the center point of their franchise. And in the end, they just go, nah. Or it turns out that you extend Blake Bortles a year before you had to, and that completely blows up in your face. And everyone, even when they got the extension done, was like, this is weird, right? Like he hadn't shown this at all. He had a really good month, and he was pretty good in the playoff run and all that. But why is he being rewarded with this now when they have him under the fifth-year option for one more year to see how that's going to play? I don't have that kind of sense with Trevor at all. I can understand the fans that do. And as I've been saying throughout this process since we got into this offseason and we're talking about the contract with Trevor, and it felt more and more imminent, and it finally got done at the end of last week, nothing is going to change anyone's mind about Trevor Lawrence except whatever happens on the field. That's the only thing that's going to change anyone's mind. No one who was questioning whether or not they should give him the contract is going to feel better about them having done that today. With them having gotten the contract done, they're going to be like, I didn't want to do this, right? So the fans who feel that way, Trevor will show it on the field. And for the fans like me that were very confident this is the right direction to go. For everything that's involved, what I see in Trevor Lawrence, my confidence in him as a player going forward, I love this move. I love everything about this move. The money doesn't bother me at all about what they're going to be paying him, and that it doesn't kick in for 2 years makes me love it even more. Like, I love so much about them getting this done, but my love for that doesn't affect whatever's going to happen on the field. He's got to show it, and we'll continue to discuss what him showing it actually looks like as we get into this thing.
Which is our question of the day, basically, today, and we'll get into that here momentarily. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, Trevor Lawrence, if he struggles, we're not going to sit here and try to sugarcoat it, right?
No.
He has to cut down on the turnovers. Absolutely. He has to elevate his game. He has to start clipping out these parts that make you go, oh, yeah, but, enough of that, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a scenario, Tony, where in the next 7 years, Trevor Lawrence, like Lamar Jackson, wins a couple of MVPs.
Yeah.
Okay? And never gets to a Super Bowl. Does that mean he didn't live up to the contract? You know what I mean? Like, if you're the MVP of the league,
right? What
more can you be doing? Well, you got to perform in the postseason. Okay, so what is it that you will judge Trevor Lawrence on in whether or not he lived up to this new 5-year deal? Mm-hmm. Okay, and so we tried to give you some options today that go in a few different directions and pick the one, if you're voting, that fits closest to what you feel is the bottom line for you, okay? So we started off with win at least one Super Bowl. Would you agree with me that if Trevor Lawrence leads the Jaguars, not that, man, Trevor Lawrence threw 4 picks and we won the Super Bowl anyway, Trevor Lawrence leads the Jags to a Super Bowl victory in the next 7 years. Has he lived up to the contract?
Absolutely.
You're damn right he's lived up to the contract, okay? And, I mean, honestly, at that point, you should just be laughing off anything that comes your way for the next 5 years when it comes to ups and downs with the Jaguars. It is hard to get there. It is incredibly hard to win it, okay? Mm-hmm. Especially when you've got a dominant Hall of Fame already being talked about as, could he run down Tom Brady as the GOAT in Patrick Mahomes type guy who's got multiple notches on the belt. But win at least one Super Bowl. Annual playoff contenders, meaning this is not even a question. The next 7 years, you're going to make the playoffs 6 out of 7 times. And the one time you didn't, you had a rash of injuries kind of thing, right? Like, you are there. You're a playoff team. And I think that is something that's a bar. It may be higher than that, but I expect that. I expect that out of this team. Now, part of it's the organization. They've got to put the accelerator to the freaking floor right now. You got Trevor. You got Josh Allen. You got your 2 biggest pieces locked up.
Yep.
You've got a talented roster around these guys. I really believe that. So don't cut corners, right? If there's a guy that can go out there and you've got salary cap space to make it happen that can help you win now's the time to make that happen. Now, option 3, several deep playoff runs. Our own Gus Logue mentioned in response to this multiple AFC championship game appearances. That would kind of coincide. Like, maybe you don't make the playoffs every single year.
Yeah.
But at least 2, maybe 3 times you make a run where you feel like you got a chance to go to the big dance, whether you do or not, right? Like, and maybe that is a couple of appearances in the AFC championship game, whatever the case may be. The final one, I put be a perennial Pro Bowler. Now, I'm not talking about getting in as the 4th alternate here. I'm talking about being named as a Pro Bowler when the Pro Bowl roster comes out. Because, in part, Trevor Lawrence can control only so much of what happens with the success of the Jaguars. He's the biggest component in that success on field, no question about it. But if Trevor Lawrence goes out there, Tony, and throws 40 touchdowns, 10 picks for 5 of the next 7 years, and the other years he's like 30 and 12 or whatever. And the Jags just, maybe they make the playoffs 3 or 4 times, and then they miss the other times, and they never really make that run. Is it all on him? It would be circumstantial. You'd have to see why they failed in the postseason, right?
Yeah.
But it's possible for a guy to be superior at what he does and not have enough around him. So I put that option in that what if he is personally brilliant? Is that enough for you? And basically it's not, because based on the way the voting is going, the first 3 options, it's going to be a 3-way dogfight to the finish here. Win at least 1 Super Bowl, annual playoff contenders, several deep playoff runs, or is it more about what the personal numbers Trevor Lawrence puts up today? We'd love to hear from you today. I imagine you took a lot of calls with Tom McManus here on Friday, including one from St. Augustine by the name of me, who you let jump in early in the program. But whether you had a chance to weigh in, you've had a weekend to let it settle. Let's talk about this. Was it the right move? And we can still discuss that aspect of it. But what do the Jags need to do now? What does Trevor Lawrence's success living up to this deal look like to you? Hit us up today at 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hop in the YouTube chat today and check us out in the virtual studio over there, or you can hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony. Gibby, give me yours.
At 1010XLAG.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
I follow you. I just
That's
didn't
right.
want to say the wrong thing.
Well, thank you.
Pockets is out of pocket today, right? But for all he survived his plane travel to the north. Is he back? Is he back in the Florida now, Gibby? Do we know?
I don't know. He texted me this morning and said he would be back tomorrow, but I'm not sure if he's back yet or not.
All right. Well, safe travels, Pockets, if you've got some more going on up there for you. It is definitely vacation season right now. There's no question about it. I just got off the greatest staycation of all time. Tony's got a vacation coming up in a few weeks. I'm going to follow right after that. Hey, until training camp comes, baby, we're going to beat the heck out of this Trevor Lawrence contract. I'll tell you that. But certainly today, I'll tell you what, I'm just happy to be back, enthused to be back in the studio with Tony Smith. So let's talk Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars and what they need to do collectively and Trevor needs to do individually to earn this 5-year, $275 million deal that he signed with the Jags. Jags are getting business done this offseason. There's no question about it. Will they turn out to be all the right moves? We'll find out in time. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios. She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
What position do I play?
You can't play?
Why not?
Mia O'Brien.
Women like her don't come along every day.
Weekdays noon to 2
That makes me rather dangerous.
on 1010XL.
Mia here, and I've got 2 words for you. Incredible inventory. And it's all at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. I'm talking over 600 vehicles in stock, 1 location. That's over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 110 pickups. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18K. Plus, now you get 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. And help from Arlington's Credit for Everyone program. Shop 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or arlingtontoyota.com.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Arrested? Got traffic tickets? DUI? License problems? Gun charges? Drug charges? If you've been charged with any crime, call me, criminal defense attorney Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
This is what smart jewelry buyers have been waiting all year for at Beard's Diamonds. 0% financing for 5 years, 0 down on everything in the store.
At the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
Don't buy anywhere until you shop Beard's Diamonds.
Homeowners and investors, the choice of title company is yours. When making that decision, choose the team of St. John's Title, LLC. As board-certified expert attorney-owned firm with decades of experience, we provide the utmost in precision and professionalism. Conveniently located offices and in-home remote closing options, we serve your needs. Whether refinancing or selling your property, our customer-first approach is tailor-made to your timeline. With a seasoned team of experts and 5-star testimonials from customers across the First Coast, visit stjohnstitle.com.
He used to cover the Jags. Now he's a CBS Sports senior NFL writer.
Well, I believe he got everybody's attention.
He's Pete Prisco. Friday afternoons on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Look, if mosquitoes ruin your summer fun, it's time to call Kingfish Pest Control. In my own experience, they are the kings of mosquito elimination. Call Kingfish Pest Control today and get 50% off your first treatment. Sign up for a full season of lockdown coverage and get half off your first treatment. Don't let mosquitoes steal your home field advantage. Reclaim your yard with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Louis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Louis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. Right, so my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Louis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
You sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
The coolers are full at your local Gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Light, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. Don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gate's got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Anderson, where we deliver custom-designed energy savings windows and doors. Did you know our unique Fibrix material combines elegance and resilience, offering double the strength of traditional vinyl? Now through June, buy one window or patio door and receive 40% off, plus 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Restrictions apply. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details. License number CGC 1527613.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Trevor drops. It's another blitz. Fires right corner of the end zone. There's Christian Kirk into the end zone. Touchdown. Trevor Lawrence to Christian Kirk for the score.
Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, a few of the reactions to today's question of the day in, above and beyond the actual votes, and we'll get to those tallies as we go along. This one, Tony, in direct reply, this is silly. When the contract kicks in, he'll be the 20th highest paid.
It won't be 20.
Right. It's not going to be 20. Yeah, sure. Maybe he won't be the highest paid. I don't look at him as the highest paid guy in the league anyway. Because for the next 7 years, you average it all out. It's all about, to me, whether he's the highest paid in average annual new money. That's an agent thing.
Yep.
That's an ego thing. Honestly, I really, this is me. I couldn't tell you this for a mortal certainty. I don't think Trevor gives a damn if he's the highest paid player in the National Football League. When you're making that kind of money and you've had that kind of commitment from the franchise, does it really matter? All right, Patrick Mahomes makes more, or Joe Burrow makes more, or $1 less, or whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. Having seen Trevor Lawrence talk about the contract several times this offseason, right, my guess is that his agent called and said, hey, this is what we got worked out. Are you ready? And he's like, yeah, cool. Like, that's what it feels like to me. I'm not saying that he isn't excited about having gotten the deal done, but he's excited about having gotten the deal done, right? Like, that's what it feels like to me from the Trevor side of this whole thing is his agent did a really good job with the contract. The team is happy with the contract. Everyone's happy in this situation. Everyone is happy with the way that things worked out, but I don't get any sense that Trevor Lawrence was pushing back on his agent like, why aren't we getting another million? Like, can't we make me the highest? Like, what? I don't get that sense from Trevor in the process at all.
I don't either. And again, we're not there behind closed doors, but imagine if the city council had to vote on this deal, right? Like, this does feel to me like, all right, Trevor's camp and the Jags, kind of like the Jags in the city or the mayor's office, getting the deal done on the stadium deal with all the particulars involved. And there was very little consternation, there was no saber rattling in public. There was none of it. It was like, hey, you got some things you want, we got some things we want. We want to be able to be competitive in the long term. You have to understand that. But at the same time, hey, yeah, you know what? The salary cap's going to rise, and that's your percentage of that is going to shrink by year. And I just feel like this has been, I think, an outstanding offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I really do. Now, people, I'm not telling you they're winning the Super Bowl this year. I'm not saying that. Okay, I hope they do. But from the way they handled the draft through the only bauble was Calvin Ridley. Okay? And if they get Ridley back at $20+ million a year, and they had already gone out and gotten Davis, are they drafting Brian Thomas? Maybe it's a whole new look to what this rookie class looks like.
Maybe
it's not, right? Maybe it's Ridley plus all these things, and that's fine as well. But this response is one that I just don't get. He'll be about the same because of the impotent front office we have. Did the impotent front office not just give $150 million to Josh Allen? Did they not get that done? Did they not sign Eric Armstead? Did they not replace the center that you all were begging to have replaced? Like, did they not get the guy that they coveted in the first round and pick up 3 additional draft picks in the process?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. If you are thinking this Jaguars front office is impotent, this is my opinion now, then you have a baked-in predisposition to feel that way, and you're ignoring the evidence. It's flying in your face. What is impotent about this offseason with the Jacksonville Jaguars and what they've been able to accomplish? 2 biggest contracts in franchise history handed out to guys that likely, if they play anywhere near their capability, go down as the greatest player at either side of the ball that the Jaguars have ever had in franchise history.
Yeah.
How is this that whole this front office can't get anything done is such a blinded worldview of what is going on? What do you want them to? What exactly?
What didn't they do this offseason that you wanted to see
If it was
them do?
Trent Smith making the moves, right? What kind of grade would you get? Oh, but at Trent Baalke, it's an impotent front office. I just don't understand it. Just don't understand that point of view.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Look, we are both very much on the side of it where I wouldn't have hired Trent Baalke to be the GM when they made that decision, right? I wouldn't have kept him after they got rid of Urban Miller, right? Like, I would have been ready to move on at that point in time. They didn't. I'm judging him based on what I'm seeing him do right now.
What has he done this offseason?
Right.
Right?
I'm not going to have the feeling I had about it 3 years ago. I have that still in my head. I know how I felt about him remaining the GM. I know how I felt about that. I expressed it on the show. I think they could have moved on from this offseason, last offseason, and at either time I would have been, okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I get it. I know why you're moving on from the guy. But that doesn't make me feel any differently about what I've seen him do this offseason than I feel about what I've seen him do this offseason. I think he's done a good job here going into the 2024 season.
If the Jags had fired Trent Baalke and hired a new GM, whomever that would be, Joe Smith is your general manager, and he goes out there and he replaces what you feel was the biggest blight on the team, the center position, Luke Fortner. Sorry, Luke, okay? But that's how the fan base projected it, okay? So you got a veteran guy in there. You got Eric Armstead. You know, you were willing to sign Calvin Ridley to a $20+ million a year deal. Sometimes you can't help it when somebody comes over the top on you in free agency, and that's what happened. Okay, they lost out on Calvin Ridley. The timing of it, if they'd gotten the Josh Allen deal done earlier, they could have franchise tagged Ridley and da-da-da-da. You're right, they could have, had it gone that way. But if everything else were the same, I would think that there would be a lot of Baalke haters would be going, see, this is how a real GM operates. Honestly, take the name off of it.
Yeah.
And again, that's fine. If that's your opinion, it's also fine that I can vehemently disagree with your opinion. Here's one, a couple on the text line from the same person. Seems like he's getting $1 million per turnover, and he follows that up with, I'd bet anything he never throws 40 touchdowns. You'd bet anything? I'll take that bet. Bet you $100 that he throws 40 I got his whole career?
Right.
That one season where he throws 40 touchdowns? You kidding me? His whole career. I'll take that bet.
Mm-hmm.
C note. Let's go. Okay? It's probably illegal, but that's okay. Let's see. Here we go. My mind is like a parachute. If it's not open, then what? Okay. I don't even, you're not even making sense, people, at this point in time. What is your particular critique?
Your mind is like a parachute. If it's not open, then you splat.
Okay.
Right? Like, essentially responding to the conversation we're having right now, it's that whatever you felt about Trent Baalke a few years ago, open your mind to the reality of the present situation so that the parachute can work, right? It's that you don't have to be stuck in how you felt 3 years ago about the entire process, is at least what I think they're trying to say.
Yeah, I'm not sure based on some of the text history that I briefly saw rolling back through there. But regardless, whatever the case may be, today we're more focused on moving forward. At least I am. Hopefully. Look, here's the thing. You could sit there and be that, and there's some of that out there, man. And that there,
no doubt,
those people, to me, would rather be right than happy, right? Or being right will make them happy more so than being proven wrong in a way that should make them happy. In other words, if you're a Jaguar fan, no matter what you feel about this deal, you should root for Trevor Lawrence to have the ultimate success every time he takes the field. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
The same as you should root for Mac Jones if he gets in the game to have the ultimate success, or Josh Allen or Trayvon Walker or Mitch Morse, or you name a guy on the roster, because they're your team. But if you are of the mindset that they didn't do it my way, so unless they do it my way, they can't be right, well, then I don't really give a damn what you think. quite frankly, right? Because you're just going to sit there and wallow and hope over the next 7 years that I guarantee you there are going to be these little poachers that sit there and wait for Trevor to have a bad game, a 3-interception game. See, I told you. Whereas I question if you're really a Jaguar fan, if that's what you're doing. Because, look, at a certain point, you got to go, this is where the boat is leaving the port. And I'm either getting on it or I'm sitting here at the dock and I can snipe and make all these comments about what's going on board.
Yeah.
But, if you're that guy, I mean, you can feel however you want, but I feel like if you're that person who is just not going to be satisfied without perfection, then don't celebrate any of the good stuff short of perfection.
Yeah.
Right? Jags win a sloppy Super Bowl. I don't want to hear about it, from you anyway. I want to hear about it from everybody else. But you know what I'm saying, man. I do feel like there's a lot of people out there that just want to be proven right rather than have the success. In the end, you know what? If you're against this contract, I hope you are proven wrong in a big, big way. What else can you say? You want the team to win. You want the team to have success. And the way they're going to have success, more likely than not, is through Doug Peterson continuing to mold Trevor Lawrence into a better and better quarterback, a product every single year. He's such a young guy. He's like Michael Penix's age, Tone.
Yeah.
Michael Penix will be like a year older than Trevor is now before he ever sees the field if things go well in Atlanta. And they spent the 8th pick in the draft on this guy. Complete crapshoot. Maybe he works out. Maybe he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Who the hell knows? Is that who you want to be again for the umpteenth time
please
in franchise history? Let's get a call in to get the squeezing out a little bit of teal water here. Sean on the south side going to join us here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Sean. What's on your mind?
Hey, good morning, fellas. How y'all doing today?
We're okay.
Good.
Okay. I wasn't to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of that contract deal. But I understand at the same time, that deal may not even be a big deal in maybe like a few years. But I was wondering, what is that going to do as far as like adding talent, in the near future? Like, are we going to have a issue with that, or what the case is with that? So I take y'all comments off there.
All right, Sean, thanks. In terms of adding talent because of salary cap space, I guess is what, obviously that your draft picks are your draft picks or whatever the case. I think the Jags have been pretty damn masterful in managing the cap. This offseason, Tony, again, I feel like they have more cap space than they went into the offseason with. At the moment, they've signed these record-setting contracts. Now, granted, some of this money is going to start to hit in the future, and it's going to change the dynamic, but I think there's a window right here for the next couple of years at least where they can continue to add talent. And here's the key. Trevor, play up to it. Even though you're not earning $55 million this year, look like a $50 million quarterback this year, right? And Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram continue to put up big numbers, and Brian Thomas makes a big rookie splash, and Gabe Davis does what he does, which is stretch the field and score touchdowns. And I think players are going to want to be a part of a rising tide, no state income tax on top of that. There are a lot of compelling reasons. Look, Eric Armstead didn't have to come here, right? I think they're in terms of desire, I think the Jags can be a very desirable locale. And I'm not a capologist, but right now I think they're in pretty smooth waters in terms of the short and long-term ramifications of the cap. That is one thing I think they've done a really good job of in the last several seasons.
Yeah, and looking at it, this year they still have $25 million in cap space if they did want to make another move. Next year I think they're around 35 right now, and again, we'll see what happens. A year from now is a long way away.
Hey, look, Tyson Campbell may have a deal between now and then, right? Trayvon may need to get a deal after this year,
Or there may be guys that, like they did this offseason, that they say, you know what, no, didn't work, we'll move on.
Right, or even if it did work, hey, you know what, cost-benefit analysis that we got to get cheaper at certain spots, and that'll happen.
But it is remarkable considering how we all felt going into the offseason. They might be able to sign one guy in like that $10 million range, and now they've signed Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Eric Armstead, everything else they've done in free agency this offseason, and they have $25 million they could spend right now if they wanted.
Bro, I had a Kansas City reporter on Sirius on Saturday, and he said, look, man, they were never going to re-sign L'Jarius Sneed. Just wasn't going to happen.
Right.
And that's going to happen, right? But, hey, you would take that if you're a Super Bowl champ, okay? You win a Super Bowl, and you got to cut a few guys loose. Whatever to get that ring within reason is worth it, And so Kansas City, is it perfect? Do they have the money to just spend wantonly here, there, and everywhere? No, right? But they kept the core together. They kept Chris Jones. They got Kelsey, and, of course, they have Mahomes. The Jags are right now, it's a two-headed core. It's Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen. Those are your pillars of this organization. And let's hope that guys like Anton Harrison continue to build on what they've shown already, because young, cheap labor is key in keeping the cycle going.
Yeah. Look, it feels like Trayvon Walker took such a big step between year one and year two that the contract extension is probably going to get done at some point with Trayvon Walker. Next offseason, maybe they start really looking at that kind of thing with him. If there was the possibility, given what they just got done with Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence, if Brian Thomas Jr. is a player, they could have, after not being able to get any first-round pick to agree to stay here for basically a decade, they might be able to get 5, right? That they hit in the first round. That's just not something the Jags have historically done all that well since very early in the process. And that run, that they had with Henderson and Stroud, they had that little bit of a run there in the middle, and they went to the playoffs 2 out of 3 years, and then it went away. And it does feel like there is something building here in Jacksonville that could be way more permanent than anything they've had in their franchise history. You can feel that there's the potential for that, and it's real.
All right, let me get Clay and Jax Beach up here next on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Clay.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Monday, Mike. Hope you had a good Father's Day.
Yeah, likewise.
Guys, good stuff. Look, for me, as a lifelong fan, this is a stop and smell the roses kind of moment, starting with Josh Allen. This extension with Trevor. I mean, if the true fans out there, and I know you guys are, you got to just stop and look. We're signing cornerstones that we drafted, and the fact that we're doing it in this capacity where there's promise. Sure, some of this is on potential with Trev, but I mean, to me, I look at this and I put blinders on. I'll admit that, but this is the fact that they got these two guys locked up. There's other ascending talent that they're going to have the same discussion around. I mean, this is good stuff, and anybody that's contrary to that, I feel bad for them because I can only imagine some of the other stuff they complain about in life. But to me, this is a good day, this was a good day last week when he signed Josh Allen. I'm beyond ecstatic for it. I think the deal sets up, the next 4 years, the cap hit marginal. And then guess what? We'll give him a new extension in 28-29 when the guy's got an MVP and a Super Bowl. So I'm Team Duval. I think this is fantastic. I just wanted to make sure I put some optimism out there for some of those guys on the tech line. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Clay. Team Duval. I like it. Look, I'm that way. I can put the blinders on a little bit with the Jags as well. I'm choosing to look at the potential upside of this deal. There's a downside to this deal. We all know he doesn't play well, right? But that's not how I feel it's going to play out. I have a lot of confidence in the guy. I do. He's 24 years old. He's shown a lot to me. And you can say, well, he's this, that, he's not generational. I don't throw all the adjectives away. I'm ready to see. I'm putting it the right way here. I just believe that when we get 3-4 years into this deal, we're not going to be questioning whether it was the right move to make. Now, maybe I'm wrong, right? I get that. But I do agree. I am a guy who will look at the downside of everything. And we've done that, Tone. It's not like we haven't fired GMs on an annual basis or coaches or this stinks or whatever the case may be. But, I'm more with the Team Duval with Clay over here on that whole situation. All right, if you're on the line, stay right there. We'll get to you right when we can come back, getting a little bit behind. But, it's a big day. I'm back in the studio. I'm enthusiastic about the money being splashed around. I've given up on Shad Khan adopting me, but nevertheless, I'm happy for Trevor that he seems to have taken my spot. All right, Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Andrew Gibson here with us as well. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Yum, yum, you got stuff to do driving around town. Maybe you forgot on the way to signing your new 5-year multi-million-dollar extension. You didn't pack a lunch. You know what? It's not a problem for everybody. I understand that. But if you did forget to pack that lunch, swing into an area gate station, fill up the tank, and fill up your belly. Fuel yourself with delicious food from Dandy made with the highest quality ingredients. It's a local company. Dandy Sandwiches and Subs, the Anytime Deli line is part of that company as well. Created by the Thompson family well over 6 decades ago, and they continue to go strong with a great variety of foods, whether it's breakfast items, lunch, snacks, full sandwiches, subs, on the go, high quality ingredients, great variety. Prices that always put a smile on your face. Super convenient. Dandy checks every single box. When you're hungry in Duval, Dandy is the name to know. So do what I do when you are. Go out and make yours a Dandy. And do it today.
Jaguars Today.
Jaguars Today.
From the JOI Studios at 1010XL.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute.
Where the pros go.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. I know that hearing another ad for Jacksonville's best promo company interrupts Jacksonville's best sports talk, but at least it isn't a political ad. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll-and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers, Cam Locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Duck Rooter is the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, and we want to help you protect your septic system. Think about this. What would happen to your car if you never changed the oil? Septic systems are no different and should be pumped at least every 3 years. Lack of maintenance is the #1 reason for septic system failure. Call Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services today to schedule your pumping.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite Roofing Contractor, lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjacks.com.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's best options. Pick it here. Watch for Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan is brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
If you're searching for a new fence installation, challenge yourself to find a fence company with more positive online reviews than Superior Fence and Rail. With over 3,000 reviews and a 4.9 out of 5 review range, Superior Fence and Rail is, well, superior. So take the online challenge or let their professional team show you what superior service looks like. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Mystic Cornhole Company builds the best high-quality custom boards right here in Jax. Perfect for weddings, tailgating, your business, a day at the beach, and a great gift idea for you-know-who. See their designs at mysticcornholecompany.com.
Hello, sports fans. Hickett here. Let's talk skin. Iron Beach's Dermatology are reminding you to wear your sunscreen. If you're an active parent hanging at the fields, in your boat to fish, or like to chill at the sandbar, wear sunscreen. But if you're the one that decided for years it's not cool, guess what? Cancer isn't cool either. So when grabbing the clubs for your tee time, gassing up the boat, or grabbing the chairs for your kids' games, make sure you bring the screen. Any concerns now? Give Beaches Dermatology a call online at beachesdermatology.com.
If you're heading to the Og or you're already part of the nation's oldest, don't forget to drop into Sunset Grill. For over 30 years, serving up great chowder, seafood, wings, and cold beer. Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A, St. Augustine Beach.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
What king in the deck of cards does not have a mustache? The answer next.
Filing any homeowner's claim is really easy with Southern Oak Insurance. Simply file your claim directly with us. We'll handle the vendors. It will save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Silly as it sounds, the King of Hearts is the only king without facial hair. Supposedly a design error.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, I've got some interesting comparisons. They're interesting to me. We'll see if they're interesting to anyone else. But in terms of Trevor Lawrence and this contract and judging whether or not he lives up to it. We'll get to that here in a moment, all right? But, Tony, as if I needed anything else to make me feel good on this Monday, my return to health, my return to the studio with you, Trevor Lawrence, new deal, new era of Jaguar football incoming. Here's our man Byron in Gainesville to check in right now. Byron, good morning. Duval! You're the one guy I can always count on to come in with a strong Duval. Byron, how are you?
Man, Mike, I tell you, I miss you. Tony, I love you guys, man. And we can't wait for Jeff and them to get back in there. And here's my joke of the day. If Shaw do adopt you, you know I've been calling you family for at least a couple of years. At least remember me as a cousin or a nephew.
Bro, I will take care of a lot of extended family if this ever comes to pass, Byron. You have no concerns there.
Hey, man, real quick on Trevor, you know, guys, I respect everyone calls, and I can understand last year the turnovers, but let me say it this way. Y'all help me now, you and Tony. I forget these years, but Mac Jones might have come out with him. What about Wilson? Did he come from Brigham Young, Utah area? And we had Fields. Some of us, like me, got a little caught up on Fields. And the Tennessee guy, I don't know when he come out, but he played for Kentucky. But what would you grade now if you could take any of those guys? My favorite, homeboy, Anthony Richardson, who got hurt. Now, we can base him on C.J. Stroud, but let me do it this way. He had the Urban year, which wasn't no good. Last year, before this one, he was looking real promising and good. And last year, we struggled with injuries. So I think, you know, we need to just hang in Jacksonville like the last caller, optimistic, and I'm happy with the deal. And I'll say this here. I've been calling you guys again for about 3 years. I think Trent, whatever, I don't know. I've just been grading him over them 3 years. It looked like we on the move up. I like what he did. I believe we could sign some more people. And I don't like to do this, but guys, real quick, the guy out of Michigan that started, I heard Sam Darnold is already the starter. So they said he can't even hit a target. Remember that. Some of these quarterbacks are busts. Thank God we got Trevor, I believe. Go Jags!
All right, Byron, thank you. Look, I don't know how it's going to work out with J.J. McCarthy. I'm not shocked that Sam Darnold is going to open training camp as a starter there.
No.
However, you got a very, inexperienced quarterback coming in. The interesting thing with him is apparently he hasn't signed his deal, right? He wants all of his signing bonus delivered, get this, at signing, Tony, which – I mean, for years, I didn't even understand or didn't even realize that there was so much deferral with the signing. But, like, to me, all right, signing bonus, here's the bonus. You sign your name, you get the bonus right there. So I get that, but that's their issue. Look, the rest of those guys, obviously, Trevor, head and tail, head over heels the best in that draft class. Will Levis, of course I'd take Trevor. You'd have to be just some kind of teal-eyed optimist to not say that most people in the league would probably tell you C.J. Stroud is the guy that they would take over Trevor Lawrence. Well, do we have that option? Even if we had that option, right? We don't have that option.
No, he's not available to everyone. Trevor Lawrence was available to one team, and that one team took advantage of it, right? And now they're getting ready to go into a second contract with Trevor Lawrence. I got no complaints about them getting the deal done. I do think it's fair to look at the quarterbacks drafted in the same draft as Trevor Lawrence and say, CJ's probably the one you'd have to think about, right? Like,
sure.
Which of the players that you would rather have, and there may be some people out there would maybe put Brock Purdy in there, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But there's not a long list of those guys that I think are even on the level of the CJ and Trevor Lawrence. As far as we know Trevor Lawrence is getting the second contract. I'm pretty sure Purdy's going to get the second contract. C.J. Stroud's a year in. It certainly looks like a guy that Houston's going to build the whole thing around, and they should, based on what we saw in his rookie season. But there's not a bunch of those guys, and the other guys that were drafted in the first round with Trevor, really, they emphasize that point because none of them are guys that are being built around right now.
And by the way, I'm with Byron. If we said at the time, if the Jags somehow – unfortunately had the second pick that year, Justin Fields would have been my guy as well.
I would have, yep,
and,
absolutely.
And given the options that you had, it was the clear-cut second best option. I thought, don't forget Trey Lance in there as well, has been kicked around a few times. Brock Purdy, a lot of people see as maybe a product of a system with Shanahan. Who knows? All right, I was looking at this item this morning, okay? And T.J. Watt is now like 31 years old, right? Top-paid guy on defense, right? And deservedly so. Right? I mean, T.J. Watt makes over $30 million a year. You bat an eye at that, Tone?
No.
Okay. T.J. Watt, you know what he's bemoaning today? He's never won a playoff game. Seriously.
It's been a while. Pittsburgh hadn't won a playoff game since 2016.
He has never won one in his career.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I'm not saying he's not a quarterback, so he doesn't impact the bottom line W's and L's as much as a quarterback does necessarily on any given day, but you could be a great player and not ultimately have that team success. Now, it's harder to justify it when it is the quarterback because they are so much a part of everything that your organization is able to achieve. Okay, Trevor Lawrence postseason record is 1-1, right?
Yes.
Won a playoff game, lost a playoff game. Unfortunately, it's not deeper than that because they missed out last year. You know what Lamar Jackson's playoff record is? 2-5. He's 2-5.
Yeah.
Okay, great. He's won a couple of MVPs, but he's 2-5 in the postseason. Get to the postseason. Lamar Jackson has not been Lamar Jackson. He has not been able to overcome the other teams with elite quarterbacks. Now, I'm not saying that Trevor's going to be able to do that. Most people look at Justin Herbert and say, oh, he's well deserving of that contract. He's got all this. He's put up these numbers. Yeah, who did he lose to? We all know what the answer is. He lost to Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, he did.
What kind of postseason success has Justin Herbert had? None. 0. Okay, who's a better player, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
MVPs will tell you Lamar.
Right. Josh Allen's 5-5 in the postseason. Wouldn't you much rather have that? And what is his big knock? Can't win in the postseason, right? Can't win the big one. Can't get over the hump.
Yeah.
So it is tough, man. And I'm sure there are going to be those just waiting to pounce. Trevor Lawrence only got him this far. Only won one playoff game. Only did this year. Look, It's going to happen. You're going to be disappointed at the end of the year almost every single time.
Yeah.
Almost every time. Hopefully at least once you break through with that Super Bowl championship. I can't say, though, for me that definitively he has not lived up to that contract if they don't win a Super Bowl in the next 7 years. Because circumstances, you got to take the whole thing into consideration. What if your defense collapses and gives up, a crazy couple of fourth-quarter touchdowns in the AFC title game or in the Super Bowl or whatever, right? So there are certain things he can control, certain things he can't. Does he play well enough to put him in that position year after year after year after year? Josh Allen's done that. Lamar Jackson's done that, right? Now then when they get to the postseason, it becomes a new level of judgment. How far do you take that team? And that's why Joe Burrow getting to the Super Bowl, beating Mahomes in the postseason, Joe Burrow's not questioned, right? If he had lost that game to Mahomes, there'd be another guy knocking at the door, right? And I get it. He got there, but he didn't win the big one, did he?
Yeah.
Right? I don't think anybody's questioning whether Joe Burrow's worth $55 million. And again, I'm not putting his stats – his stats will outperform Trevor Lawrence's. He also has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, right, who have been much better as an established pair than anything the Jags have had. Going back to the Jimmy and Keenan days, at least, right? Yeah. I mean, and that's just the way it is. So, again, I'm not trying to cape for Trevor Lawrence. Time will tell whether he lives up to this deal. But I'd certainly think that, as I said Friday when I joined you, the likelihood of him living up to this deal is, in my mind, so much greater than the likelihood that you could find anything to replace him in the next 2 to 3 years and would reach that pinnacle. You say, well, you could do it for a lot cheaper. All that, who cares? Who cares if you're saving on the quarterback, because you got to spend the money somewhere.
Right.
The salary cap money is going to be spent. So you got this great team with a mediocre quarterback and you don't go anywhere and you couldn't find the guy. And so if you're jealous of the money he's getting, all right, I understand. It's human nature.
Right. That we include basically being a playoff contender as one of the options in the poll today tells you all you need to know about how important it is to pay a quarterback. Right? Because if you find one of those quarterbacks, your team's going to be in contention for the playoffs. A lot.
They have to be that.
Right.
Now, there is a standard. You can't just now come limping in at 7-10 this year and going, oh, shucks, get them next year. No.
No, I get it.
There are higher expectations for this football team. We'll see if they're able to live up to them. All right, halfway in, man. I'm fired up to be back. I really am. And we're talking Trevor Lawrence and what can he do to live up to this record-setting deal, record-setting from a Jaguars perspective and from, a league perspective to some degree in terms of a new money average.
Yep.
Right there, a record-equaling kind of approach. 641-1010 if you'd like to get on board. Tony also take us around the league when we get back. How tough was it to scrape up some around-the-league stories?
I got a few things.
All right. Everybody's on hiatus right now, but we'll do all that and more coming your way. 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the JOI studios at 1010XL.
All right, Tony Baselli here. Right here on your home for Jaguars football. 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Summer starts now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet with our summer sale. It's not sink or swim. We have vehicles for every budget and every need, starting as low as $79.99, and you won't get burnt. We offer 20-year 200,000-mile protection on new and 7-year 100,000-mile protection on used. Plus, we can really cool things off with our 30-day exchange policy. Start the summer off the way you deserve it with our summer sale at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
If you're an experienced, skilled plumber or welder that's MedGas certified and you're tired of working for a company that just doesn't treat you right, Local 234 is the place for you. Their pay is the best in the business. You'll walk away with $35.09 an hour in your pocket. With benefits, that's just over $50 an hour. Local 234 has been around since 1901, and that means something. Visit UA234.com to send your resume. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Integrity, persistence, and standing up for victims. It's what you want in a personal injury case and what my friend and lawyer Glenn Cohen brings to every case for over 40 years. Call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen & Sullivan.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners, Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy, higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
Hacker here coming in hot. I'm so freaking stoked right now I could do cartwheels. Well, maybe not cartwheels yet, but soon, after already shedding a jaw-dropping 70 pounds thanks to the miracle workers at Awaken 180. My doc just told me to forget the scalpel. I was scheduled this month for a procedure for a vein in my leg, but thanks to dropping the 70 pounds, I no longer needed it. He was impressed, to say the least. He hasn't ever seen a transformation like I'm having with Awaken 180 weight loss. In reality, all that extra weight was dragging me down. Not just figuratively, but literally. The benefits of losing it have been nothing short of amazing. Yes, a weight loss program that works can actually be done. And most importantly, done easily. If weight's holding you back and you don't think there's a plan you can do, let me tell you, there is. 70 pounds in 3 months, guys. It's doable. So do it online at awaken180weightloss.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Bryson DeChambeau wins the 124th U.S. Open, finishing 6 under, making this his second U.S. Open victory, defeating Rory McIlroy by 1 stroke. DeChambeau on his win.
I don't know what to think. It fully hasn't sunk in yet, but I just want everybody to enjoy it as well. As much as it is heartbreak for some people, I mean, it was heartbreak for me at the PGA, and I really wanted this one. And I turned the corner and saw I was a couple back, and I said, nope, I'm not going to let that happen. I need to focus on figuring out how to make this happen. It's a dream come true.
Up in Omaha at the College World Series, the Tennessee Vols tops Florida State for Game 1, 12-11, forcing the Noles to play an elimination game against Virginia Sunday afternoon. The Noles responded and beat Virginia 7-3 to extend their season. Up next for the Noles will be playing North Carolina on Tuesday at 2. It's 86 degrees at 11 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, how does Trevor Lawrence prove he is worth the extensions? Kind of the backdrop of today's show, and maybe the forefront of today's show, I suppose. But your options in our X or Twitter poll What does he need to do to live up to the deal? Win at least one Super Bowl, annual playoff contenders, several deep playoff runs, or be a perennial Pro Bowler. And again, when I write that, I don't mean fifth alternate. I mean a guy who's clearly one of the top 3 in the conference year after year after year after year. You're going to make 5 or 6 of those Pro Bowls as on the day it's announced, right? Maybe be the starting quarterback in the Pro Bowl a couple of times, whatever. And somebody said in response, it's interesting looking at the poll that the one thing that really is more in his control than anything else, which is the personal achievement end of it, is drawing so little in terms of a response, like 6% tone, but that's kind of where we are. Quarterbacks get judged on team success.
They do.
Fair and unfair, right? If you make a deep playoff run, even if it's not all on you. Look, we talked about it plenty last offseason. If Riley Patterson misses the field goal against the Chargers, the narrative isn't, wow, what an amazing comeback by Trevor Lawrence. It's like, damn, he dug him a hole too big to dig out of or to climb out of, right? It's what you do at the hole. You stop digging, right? And when you're at the bottom of the hole, you want to stop digging. So you don't dig your way out of a hole. You know what I mean? So I get it. And it's not up to Trevor Lawrence whether Riley Patterson makes that field goal or not. But the fact that he did, that W goes on Trevor's record, and then you can highlight the fact that, you know what? Put him behind, but never. How many quarterbacks could even overcome that? And I agree, not many could. But even in the final seconds, it wasn't determined by Trevor's play whether they won that game or not, right? It comes down to the vagaries of a kick going through or not at this point. All right, let's get Darren and Mandarin up next here, 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines. Darren, good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Mike, and I'm glad, man, good to hear your voice. I'm glad you're doing well, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. We need Mike ready for the opening of preseason, which ain't far away, guys. I'm starting to get pumped. I'm just, every day something's happening good. Look here. It's been a long time as a Jags fan. I wear it on my sleeve, and I'm literally on my chest with a big giant tattoo, okay? Because it's been a long time that we've had a player besides Josh Allen, but on the offensive side, a quarterback that we wanted to lock up for a long time. And, we talked about this. When he beat Alabama in that national championship game, we was just all dreaming and foaming at the mouth at an opportunity to have a player like that could potentially lead us to the promised land. Look here, we're not there yet. But you know what? I believe he's going to take us there, and I believe playoffs year in and year out will be success for me. Guys, I enjoyed the show, and I can't wait till the season gets started.
Thank you, Darren. Duval! Thank you, Darren. Appreciate you. Look, the key word there is potential, right? Potential gets a lot of coaches fired, Tony. Potential just means you haven't done squat yet. But from the point of view that Darren expressed that, I agree with he's saying. Go back to his freshman year, and we said, wow, this is what this guy is capable of doing, right? And he is capable of doing some amazing things. Will he do those? We don't know. Will he do them consistently enough for our taste? We don't know. Will he put it all together? Do you think the Giants are – how do you think the Giants, I guess would be a better way to put it, feel about the Eli Manning draft selection / trade, the acquiring of Eli Manning with that draft capital?
I think they would celebrate it every time that they talk about it.
They won 2 Super Bowls, right? If they had won 1
They'd
Super Bowl,
celebrate it every time they talk about
every time they talk about it, right? And Eli was he's up and he's a lot of picks, a lot of this, a lot of that, but he won the damn Super Bowl.
He did.
For him, and he had that kind of potential, and he made those big throws in those moments, particularly the one to Manningham, which was really the play, right? I mean, in that second win, but Trevor's capable of elevate, I believe. Now, that's me. This is my belief. So if you disagree, I understand that where you're coming from. That, as I said to Tony on a break earlier, I'm skeptical. I haven't seen enough. I'm hoping for the best. I get that 100%. What I don't get is I've made up my mind. Therefore, no matter what happens, this was a bad deal.
Yeah.
And that, to me is just so – I mean, look, live your life the way you want to live your life, but that to me is so counterproductive to where things stand at this moment. As a Jaguar fan, I have not – just as a guy who wants the best for this team, right? I borderline. Am I a fan? Am I whatever? I certainly I root for them. I want them to win. I don't have a team ahead of them. I was a Jets fan for a long time because that's who I grew up with. But there's no question. I want the Jags to win every time against anybody. Does that make me a fan? Whatever. You can get into the semantics of it. But as someone who wants a team to succeed, I have not felt as good about their long-term future as I have since the early Coughlin heyday era. Just simply no point in time between then and now have I felt as good about where things stand. Roster, quarterback, head coach, star defensive pass rusher, young talent around them. Has everything been perfect? No. Somebody pointed out, that I don't think they've done very well in the draft. In fact, I don't give them any credit for Trevor Lawrence pick. Fine, because he was automatic at 1. Travis Etienne may be the best pick we've had in these last few years. Okay, that's fine. But is Trayvon Walker a bust?
No.
Hell no, he's not a bust, right?
No.
He may not have been the perfect pick at number 1 overall. That's not Trayvon's fault, and he's certainly not a bust. I mean, in his second year to have double-digit sacks, this is not a team with a history of double-digit sack guys.
No.
A long history of it. Is Anton Harrison a bust?
No.
Hell no, right? So how many years do we go, man, if this team could just draft in the first round, right? Now, granted, you can't just draft well in the first round. Just like you can't draft well through 2 through 7. It's got to be a combo. You got to hit those first-round picks. You got to hit most of your second-round picks. And then you got to hit a fair share of the rest of them, right? Because that's the way it works. Yeah, we can all point to Tyreek Hill in the 5th round, and that's great, right? I bet the Chiefs have made a few 5th-round picks that they'd go, let's not look at this one over here. It's the nature of the NFL draft. So I think, at least in terms of the momentum early, I think they've done a much better job hitting on high-level talent.
There have been plenty of Jaguars drafts where you're trying to squint your eyes to see one player in the whole draft that's pretty good, right? Like there's been plenty of those that we've seen, especially here in the last 15 years, and I get it. They have to hit outside of the first round. I'm not saying that they don't, but even in last year's draft, I don't look at Antonio Johnson and not see a guy. They're going to depend on him.
There's promise there.
Right, like this year. And if they get that and Anton Harrison, if those are the two guys that come out of the draft, I don't look at that as a failure of a draft. It could be a home run if they get 1 or 2 more guys.
Right. If Strange and Bigsby fulfill what their vision for them was, right?
Yeah.
They're not starters, right? And they're not going to be starters in most scenarios. There could be an occasion where, you're coming out in a 2 tight end set and all that. That doesn't make you a starter.
No.
Right?
But you can look at, say, the Trevor Lawrence draft. I don't know what they're going to wind up doing with ETN, but I think there's the potential that they could have him for an extension. He's been a good player, when he's been on the field for this team. Tyson Campbell, they'll have to figure that out. Andre Cisco. If they extend Tyson Campbell and Andre Cisco and they got Trevor Lawrence, that's a really good draft. Right? Like if you have 3 guys that you feel like are good enough that we're going to commit to these guys for more than one, that's a really good draft. There's at least the potential for that. I'm not saying that you can't look at some of the drafts they've had and go, right? They've had plenty of those, but I don't think necessarily 2023 even qualifies for that kind of thing. We'll see what winds up happening, with the 2022 draft. Who knows? Because Walker, I would expect Evan Lloyd's probably going to get some kind of extension here. Right? Like, I don't think his rookie contract is going to be the end of it for him here, but he's the only other one, right, from that draft. Luke Fortner looked like he was going to be the starting center for a decade. Not so much now. We'll see what winds up happening with it. There's not much beyond those 2 first-round picks. I get it that there wasn't a whole lot of production out of the draft in 2023. They got to find a way to hit on those. But the Jags have the potential for the first time in their franchise history to sign their first-round pick to an extension in 4 out of 5 drafts. They haven't had that, right? Not even early on did they have that in the first round where they had 4 out of 5 years we're keeping guys, right? This kind of run in the first round from a Jaguars perspective feels like it's turning into something that they've never done before.
Well, keep it up, right? And again, first rounder's not enough by itself, right?
No.
Hey, Mason Smith, you can't be just a guy, right? Just a part of the rotation. You got to ultimately be.
You're not drafted there to
an
just
impact.
be a guy.
You got to be an impact player, right? Like, is Walker Little a good draft pick? 45th pick in the draft. He's never broke through and become a starter. He's been a solid player. I think the future will determine how good of a pick Walker Little is. So we're not saying things have been perfect. We're not blind to the issues that they've had. That's why Tony said earlier, hey, if they'd moved on in front office, we wouldn't have batted an eye.
No, okay.
But once they pot commit to the next 12 months, then we're rooting for them to have all. I don't care about how I felt about it. I care about what the results are going to be. All right, let's break here. We'll come back. Tony will take us around the league. If you want to get in, 641-1010 on the All Pro Roofing phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or simply navigate over to X and give a one-click vote in our poll today about what best reflects your feeling about what Trevor Lawrence needs to do to live up to the contract extension that he just signed. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Andrew Gibson here with you. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. I got a little bit of a confession to make. Like, I put on some pounds. I went in the hospital. You're kind of under doctor's orders, right? You're eating what they're telling you to eat. So my routine got thrown off, and I gained a few pounds coming out of the hospital. I was not pleased with this at all. Sometimes you're on a feeding tube. You just can't control your circumstances. The thing is, though, the resiliency of Awaken 180, I snapped right back, and I got on the scale this morning, and I'm right where I was at the end of September last year when Awaken 180 helped me reach my weight loss goal. I had already lost a bunch of weight, but I had a tough time getting to a particular number. They got me there, and they've been able to keep me there even through things like hospital stays. So you can be the next Awaken 180 success story. I know no one who's tried it who hasn't had success. So call 844-346-1800, 844-346-1800. Whether it's 10, 50, 100 pounds you need to lose, schedule your consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Open it, please.
What's the code?
1010XL. 1010XL. Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Is your old AC trying to keep up with the Florida heat?
At JTM Comfort Services, they understand the importance of a reliable AC system. That's why they offer financing on qualified repairs and replacements. Don't suffer through another scorching summer. Upgrade now to a new, energy-efficient system. Visit jtmcooling.com to learn more and schedule your consultation. Veteran and family owned.
Your comfort is our name. Call my dad to keep you in the game.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O. If you want high-quality water throughout your home, call your local water boy. We install equipment to solve any water problem. Waterboyjax.com.
Now those sound like some well-oiled machines. B&B Oil and Fuel works hard at being the most responsive, fast-moving, service-driven distributor of oil and fuels in our market. Time is money. You need fuel and lubricants to keep your business moving. You also need a partner who can move as fast as you do. We pride ourselves on our responsiveness to both the normal day-to-day and any emergency need that may come up. Only the best with B&B Oil and Fuel. Online at bb-oil.com.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Anthony. I've been practicing criminal defense law for over 40 years. It's what I love to do, it's what I do well. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open-air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
It's It's the Sporting Jacks Soccer Hour. Join Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz, and Becky Burley as they discuss the latest in the world of soccer, including Sporting Jacks bringing pro men's and women's soccer to Jacksonville. Mondays at 6 on 1010 a.m.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
It's the coolest week to save during the summer fan sale at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Buy one fan, save 10%. Buy two, save 15%. Buy three or more and save 20% off all fans at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Showroom near the Avenues.
Cataracts are the leading cause of vision loss in the United States and blindness worldwide. Hicken here for Bowdeny & Associates. June is Cataract Awareness Month. Cataracts are a condition that causes the eye's lens to become cloudy, which can block or change the way light passes through the eye. Bowdeny is here to take care of you or someone you know who are experiencing faded colors, intensified brightness to light, or poor night vision. Call or visit Bowdeny.com to schedule your consultation. Bowdeny & Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
Your Jaguars game day, your way. Whether you want to see a division rival like the Titans, an NFC North opponent like the Packers, or a mix, deciding on your favorite matchups has never been easier with Bundle at the Bank.
Touchdown, Travis Etienne!
Get tickets to 3 or more games starting at just $58 per game. It's as easy as pick, pay, and play. But seats are selling fast, so visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Gibby's here as our man Tyler. It was when Tyler Devin right there.
That's way back.
Pockets McGillicuddy will be back tomorrow. Oh, my gosh. It is way back. My brain is a little bit addled, I got to admit. You know, I've not been the sharpest knife in the drawer for the last couple of weeks. I did get a lot of binge watching done, though. So I guess that's good for me. If there's a new show out there and you're wondering about it, I've probably seen it. I'll say that. And Presumed Innocent is very good. Like, it should be. It's good source material. There have been several iterations of that, but the new one with Jake Gyllenhaal on Apple TV, very nice. I like when we got the flow going, Tone, to where our purpose, our goal is to go around the league, and then just the conversation kind of swells to the point where I'll keep pushing that off. So let's push it off no further, and Tony will take us around the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Cincinnati wide receiver T. Higgins signed his franchise tag this weekend. The tag is for $21.8 million and should ensure that Higgins is there for the start of the Bengals training camp after he has not participated in the Bengals offseason work. The Detroit Lions are signing kicker Jake Bates to a 2-year deal. Bates made a 64-yard field goal during the UFL season this year while playing for the Michigan Panthers. Kansas City defensive lineman Isaiah Buggs was arrested on a domestic violence / burglary charge in Tuscaloosa on Sunday and was held on a $5,000 bond. 3 weeks ago, Buggs turned himself in on misdemeanor animal cruelty charges. His agent said at the time, releasing a statement shortly after he had turned himself in, that Buggs vehemently denies those charges. Nothing has further developed in that area yet, but now arrested again this weekend.
Only news we want between now and training camp is possible more contract extensions. That's the only news you want.
You get that, and they're all on the same boat on a vacation. Like, that's as newsy as you want it to be.
And that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care if it's like Odell Beckham's boat. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? As long as they're not doing anything illegal.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I'm going to look at that as togetherness, Tony.
Yeah. Trevor throwing to Christian Kirk at a local high school. Awesome.
Yeah, right? Like the most I want boring for the next month. That's just the way it's got to be. One little thing I wanted to mention. Yesterday I mentioned I went on VSiN, the Vegas Sports and Information Network, which you hear on 1010XL a lot of times, kind of like the backdrop at nights and on the weekends and stuff. And these are younger guys who are the hosts, but both of them, like, what is the typical reaction to Jacksonville, Tom? Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So whatever, it's blah, blah, blah. By the way, you see that poll came out, like, one of the worst places to spend your summer is Good!
It was a vacation thing. I was like, yeah.
We don't want you here anyway. I mean, I can't speak for the city, but me, I don't want you here anyway.
Like, I saw it. I was like, is this a real thing? Like, I don't even know what I would tell people who wanted to vacation in Jacksonville to do. I'd be like,
play a bunch of golf and go to the beach, I guess.
go to St. Augustine or something. You know,
Sure.
like, those are much more touristy places than Jacksonville.
It's not a tourist locale.
No.
Right? And whatever. But these guys, they said, what do we need, what does the country need to know about the Trevor Lawrence? I said, first of all, y'all don't know anything about anything going on here, right? Because it's Jacksonville, and we get it. So, you see something pops up. It's like the Josh Allen thing probably came out of nowhere for a lot of people out there. But the thing of it was, both of the hosts were like, man, I spent some time in Jacksonville. That is an amazingly great city. I was like, damn, that was nice to hear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't need you coming here, all right, clogging up the road. But if you're going to come, and they were talking about, man, I went to Jumbo Shrimp games, and I went to Shark games, and all these things they did, and it was fantastic experience, beautiful beaches. I'm like, there's two guys who get it.
Yeah.
Yes, there are a lot of great things here, man. There are a lot of great things here. So that's not, that's kind of an aside to everything else that we're discussing today. But nevertheless, a little bit interesting, I thought, that, not every person is so jaded. You know what it is? Those guys didn't cover the Super Bowl here. That's what it is, right? I still, to this day, think sports writers who did cover Super Bowl 39 are personally aggrieved by whatever inconvenience they had in getting around. And that's what it comes down to. And screw you. I don't care.
I wonder if that's the deal with Florio, because he always seems to mention some kind of like snide remark about Jacksonville. Every time they were talking last week, even before Trevor's deal, Mike, about Trevor Lawrence is going to get paid one way or another, but Jacksonville, and this is Florio talking, Jacksonville's a dysfunctional franchise and has been for years, and it's just like, really?
Well, that part I think is fair.
That's pretty close to the yeah.
Well, Urban Meyer was dysfunctional.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been a dysfunctional franchise.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's no getting around that. The question is, are they emerging from that, Gibby? Right.
And that's the point. Yeah.
But it's I can handle that critique because how can you argue with the results?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I heard the guys this morning on the drill discussing Gus Bradley's place in NFL history among the worst coaches of all time, right? And they've been terrible. They've made awful decisions, blown first-round picks, catastrophically stupid decision-making. But I feel like the tide is turning.
Absolutely.
I feel that way. You don't have to agree. You can say we're sunshine pumpers, blowing smoke at you, whatever, man. All I can tell you is how I honestly feel. And if I feel that way, I'm going to express it.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like the tide is turning for this organization.
Look, I think it's turning significantly. And looking through the Jags draft history here this morning, because we're talking about 2 first-round picks that got extensions in this offseason, Josh Allen in 2019, C.J. Henderson and Kayvon Chason in 2020, Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. We'll see what they wind up doing with Etienne on the back end of his deal. Trayvon Walker, Devin Lloyd both feel like players that could end up getting extensions. Walker, I'd be surprised if he didn't. Devin Lloyd, I'd be a little bit surprised at this point if he doesn't wind up playing a second contract here in Jacksonville. Anton Harrison is on the path that he's on. The last time the Jaguars had that kind of success in the first round of the draft started in 1995 with Tony Baselli.
He's good.
96 was Kevin Hardy. 97, Ronaldo Wynn. He was a good player but didn't play a second contract in Jacksonville. Fred Taylor in 1998 and Donovan Darius.
Yeah.
Fernando Bryant, good player. Again, didn't play a second contract here. And then you get to R.J. Soward and things start going, that was the break. Well, like, that was the break in that early run for the Jags was the R.J. Soward thing didn't work, and it kind of, they had to figure out a different direction to go. Then you have Stroud and Henderson.
Which
01-02.
Pretty solid.
It's pretty solid. Leftwich 03. Reggie Williams 04. Matt Jones 05. Then you get Mercedes, still going, in 06, right? Reggie Nelson in 07. He's a good player. Wasn't great here, right? Only had the 3 years here in Jacksonville. Derek Harvey, Eugene Monroe, Tyson Alualu. Like, you go back before what they just got done with those first-round picks. The last player they signed to a real extension among their first-round picks was Tyson Alualu, all the way back in 2010. The potential for change in the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise with what they've gotten done this offseason, it's immense. The kind of turn we could be seeing in just the franchise in general with the way things have gone for them historically. They haven't had this kind of run since it started in 1995. Just haven't had that kind of run.
We've got a great run going in our poll today. The top three options are neck and neck and neck right now. What does Trevor Lawrence need to do to live up to his new 5-year, $275 million contract extension, win at least one Super Bowl, annual playoff contenders, several deep playoff runs, or be a perennial Pro Bowler? And again, when we say that, we're not talking about third alternate, whatever. We're talking about earning it, like being one of the top clear-cut guys.
He could have been a Pro Bowler in back-to-back years if he was willing to be a third or fourth alternate last year.
Sure.
He said no. Right? He was a Pro Bowler the year before as an alternate, but he was the first alternate that year, right? So it did feel like he was, especially with the way the season ended, he was playing like a Pro Bowler by the time we got to the end of 2022. 2023, he wasn't playing like a Pro Bowler at the end of that season, but there were so many guys that were out of the Pro Bowl that they kept going down the list, down the list. And with the injury stuff, I would have been mad at Trevor if he had said yes to the Pro Bowl, right, in the situation he was in. That's why Gardner Minshew was a Pro Bowler last year.
What we hope is Trevor declines the Pro Bowl because he's playing in the Super Bowl.
Hell yeah,
nice.
baby.
That's what we hope, right?
By the way, and mentioned this response earlier, Paul said incredible, the only personal achievement is carrying only 6%, meaning the perennial Pro Bowler, the one thing he's more in control of than anything else. And my response was people judge quarterbacks mostly on team success,
yes,
it appears.
Do.
And a reply to that from Jackson Villains said Baltimore won a Lombardi with Trent freaking Dilfer. There are 22 starters for a reason. Okay, yes, they did. Let's all pick out the outlier season of having one of the great defenses of all time and pulling the rabbit's foot out of your backside or whatever kind of anecdote or whatever kind of little thing you want to throw out there. If that's what you want to count on, yeah, there are 22 other starters for a reason. I don't think the Jags are neglecting, or the 22 starters for a reason. I don't think the Jags are neglecting the other 21. I don't think they're saying, hey, Trevor Lawrence, you're on an island here.
Yeah.
I think they'd get, like, Kirk, Ingram, Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, ETN, let's go. Is the offensive line good enough? Have they done enough? That is really, to me, continues to be the question of the offseason, and it's one that can't get answered until they get on the field in September. All right, we'll come back. Let's look at where the poll stands. We'll give you our 10-10 take on how we would vote on that, and we'll put a bow on it for today. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Agent Gibbs here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios. We saw the games.
A tremendous return. It's first and goal, Jacksonville.
And we love to talk about it.
Really changed the course of the game.
1010XL.
June is Men's Health Month, so I just got a total body MRI scan. It was really simple, quite comfortable, and it only took about an hour. Total body MRI scans for abnormalities that may need attention soon. Be proactive with your health this month. Call Ackerman Cancer Center to learn more about total body MRI.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance painting.
Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help with any plumbing or septic issue, just give us a call and relax. We'll send one of our first-round draft picks to get the job done right. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Fish are good at hiding. Captain Kevin can help you find them.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Find more fish on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Thursday nights at 6.
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss on 1010XL AM.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Ever buy a gym membership but don't ever use it? Who hasn't? E.T. here, sports fans, and instead, I send plants and flowers to people I love from Kuhn Flowers, home of the beautiful window display on Beach Boulevard. Now that's money well spent. Kuhn Flowers.
This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being a godly example. Every day, we're setting an example in our words and actions. And many times, we can act one way in one setting and then totally different in another setting. My encouragement for you is to not send out mixed messages. God is depending on you to set the example in people's lives. You don't know, but you may be the only Bible that someone ever sees today.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. You've heard us talk about it. Window World, the #1 window replacement company in the USA, selling over 1 million windows each year for the past 8 years.
That's a lot of satisfied customers, and why J.D. Powers has awarded Window World Best in Customer Satisfaction 3 out of 4 years.
Window World stands behind their slogan, simply the best for less. With Window World, you get top quality windows at a price that leaves more of your money in your bank account, and you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement industry. When compared to our competition, there is none. See for yourself. Call the competition. Get quotes from them. But before you buy, get Window World's free estimate and compare the quality of the windows and the price.
You'll see.
And when your new Window World windows are installed and they're saving you money on your energy bills, if anything goes wrong with those windows, Window World and I will be there to make it right. That's my guarantee.
Call Window World today. Start saving money on your new windows and your energy bills, and take vacation with your savings. Window World, online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors and siding.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
This is Hayes Carlion for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
On 1010XL.
All right, Tony and I debating what we should use for the Tuesday top 5. And we're leaning towards, outside of Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, who are the 5 players that are going to have the biggest impact on the Jags' success on the field this year.
Yes.
Tony brought up a good alternative, and we'll probably go with these in the next couple weeks. Top 5 Jacksonville moments, right?
Yeah.
As he has been inducted or will be inducted.
He has been inducted into the mascot hall.
The ceremony has taken place, so he's not just like announced that he'll be going in.
Yeah,
he's been
Baselli showed up at the house, gave him the did the whole
Did he
goal.
really?
He did.
That's
yeah.
fun.
Jags put that video out. That was fun.
Yeah, there were a lot of good Jacksonville moments over the
there
years.
were.
No question about it. But we'll probably go with the player on the field stuff. We'll save the other one for next week, but that's probably what we're looking at over the next couple weeks. Gibby, why don't we fire up today's 10-10 take?
10-10 take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take. Brought to you by Leonard Truck Accessories.
All right, what does Trevor Lawrence need to do to live up to his new 5-year, $275 million contract extension? The options we gave you today: win at least one Super Bowl, annual playoff contenders, several deep playoff runs, be a perennial Pro Bowler, okay? And as many have said, it's a combination of these things. And I think if you're playing at that perennial Pro Bowl level, you're going to team success will follow.
Yes.
Because I don't think you're on an island here. I think there's talent here. To me, Tone, it comes – I win at least one Super Bowl. It's such a – is Dan Marino a failure?
No.
Because he made it to one Super Bowl and never got back and never won one? You know what I mean? Like, it's such a high bar to win a Super Bowl. If Trevor wins one, I don't think there's any question in my mind, in Tony's mind – I'll speak for Gibby maybe even here, that yes, he lived up to the contract if he leads the Jags to the Super Bowl. Hard to argue otherwise, in our opinion. I went with annual playoff contenders as opposed to several deep playoff runs because I don't want the sporadic. All right, 7-year period here, okay? And I get it, the 5-year extension, but I'm looking at a 7-year window now for Trevor Lawrence. And let's say you make a couple of runs to the AFC title game, and that's great, but what if you miss the playoffs 4 out of the other 5 years, right? I want this to be a team, when the season kicks off, you damn almost are sure that they're going to the postseason, right? And that you go to the playoffs 6 out of 7 times, and the one time you missed was because of a rash of injuries or whatever the heck happened with you. I'm not saying it's enough to go there and lose in the first round every single time. But I think if you put yourself at annual playoff contender status, if you're that team, you won't have that problem. You won't be that team. So for me, I would vote annual playoff contenders with that kind of caveat around it.
Yeah, I think looking at the contract and having had the weekend to think about it, I think you give him a 5-year, $275 million contract because he's going to make you an annual playoff contender. Right? Like, I think that is part of the process for why the Jags are comfortable making this deal with that player at that position, is he's going to make us an annual playoff contender. They've been a playoff contender 2 out of his first 3 years, right? And now you got the extension here for Trevor Lawrence. The things that happened the way they did in 2023 that prevented them from going to the playoffs, right? They got in their own way at last year, but they did go 9-8. They've been 9-8 the last 2 years. It's a franchise that hadn't had a whole lot of that. I do think for me, and maybe this is the Braves fan in me, annual playoff contenders, right? I do think that allows him to live up to what I think the team is putting on him. I think they look at it, if he did win a Super Bowl, then yeah, it's worth the deal right now. And if they were a 4, 5, 6-win team the other 6 years, if they won a Super Bowl, I think he's worth this contract to the franchise. I think he's way better than that. I think he puts them in a position where they can win a Super Bowl with Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback, that he is a good enough player that when he wins an MVP, it's not going to surprise me. That's the kind of player that I think Trevor Lawrence is. But answering the question today, what does he need to do to live up to this contract? I think make them a consistent playoff contender.
And let me be clear based on something you just said here. Like, they were a playoff contender last year. That's not enough. what they did last year, right? Going fizzling out and losing a bunch of games late in the season when you start 8-3 is not good enough. That doesn't fit in the annual playoff contender category strongly enough for me, if you know what I'm saying, right? Like, this is a team that if you win 10 and you miss out because the AFC was loaded that year, all right, that's fine, right? Or, if you had a rash of injuries that you overcame and you finished strong and you came up a game short, okay. I mean, you're still a contender. I want that feeling going into the year that we believe that we're one of the top 7 teams in the AFC at a minimum. And you're going to fulfill that. That's my – so we can look at the same answer, I think, and have a slightly different approach to it. Like I wouldn't say what they did last year would fit in well enough. Now, if that was the outlier year and they made the playoffs 6 out of 7 years and the one they didn't was the one they fizzled down the stretch, okay, right? But I'd have to see that in the full context of the 7 years to come. Gibby, how would you vote on this?
First of all, we'd all love to see Trevor Lawrence win a Super Bowl. That's number one. But the option I would choose is the annual playoff contender, because I look at it this way, Mike and Tony. Ask fans of the Saints, of the Raiders, of the Vikings, the Broncos, these teams that haven't figured out quarterback. What would you pay for a quarterback that's going to get you to the playoffs every single year?
$275 million.
Exactly. So it's like those fans would pay I don't care, whatever it takes to have a quarterback that gets us consistently every year to the playoffs. It doesn't matter what you would pay, because you would pay whatever it takes. The Jaguars have that kind of guy, and so that's what I would take, is a guy that's going to get you there, because once you get there, who knows what can happen. Trevor Lawrence has proven that he can lead a team back. Example, the Chargers game. He can get him to the playoffs, but the ceiling is limitless to if he gets there, to what he can do.
Look, I think, and I can't speak for every GM in the league, but I think if you had gotten rid of Trent Baalke, hired any other existing GM, gave him the same set of circumstances, almost every single one would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Or attempted to get that deal done. Maybe I can't speak for everybody. I can't say with mortal certainty that nobody would say, let's make him play it out one more year. I don't know that. But I think overwhelmingly likely. And I think those teams like Gibby is talking about, Tone, Denver would leap at the chance to give Trevor Lawrence the contract that the Jacksonville Jaguars just gave.
Yeah, look, this will evolve with time, right? This is a long-term deal. So we know he's going to be here for the next 7 years. He's going to be here, right? Like, we know he's going to be here. And if they make the playoffs the next 2 years and don't win a playoff game, then going into that third year from now, we're going to be like, when are we getting over the hump, right? Like, that's going to be the conversation when they get to the point where they are a consistent playoff team. But if you ask Jaguars fans a decade ago, what would you pay to have a quarterback that made you a playoff contender every year for 5 years? You'd be like, what?
Blank
Tell
check.
me the number.
Blank check.
Right? And the Jags are kind of in that window right now of, tell me the number, right?
And it hasn't crippled their ability to build around him.
No. And whatever success they have over the first 2 or 3 years of this deal with Trevor, the next 2 or 3 years, it will determine where the bar is going to be set for the next season, right? But going into it right now, I look at it and say, yeah, if they're an annual playoff contender, I think he is earning the contract. I think that's why they pay him this money. It's because he makes them an annual playoff contender. But if they make the playoffs and lose in the wild card round the next 2 years, 3 years from now, we're all going to be going, what? Come on, next step.
Right. You know who it'll be? It'll be Dak Prescott. Oh, my God, you got to get Dak $8 billion now because the Cowboys really screwed this up for a guy who's never done anything in the postseason.
Yeah.
Hey, all these gaudy regular season numbers are great, and I want some of that. I want some gaudy, right? I want some 40-touchdown seasons out of Trevor. I want the full package. I want the statistical brilliance, the on-field success to marry up. There's no reason you can't have both, right? But I'll take the on-field success over the statistical brilliance.
Absolutely.
Every single time. I think we all would. I mean, most would. I can't speak for everybody. Tua deserves $8 billion. Blah, blah, blah. Tua's 0-2 in the postseason, okay? He's got ridiculous weapons to work with. So, yeah, his stats are pretty gaudy, okay? I don't give a crap if Miami, wait till you see what Tua gets. I don't care.
Don't care.
I hope you have to pay him $70. I hope you have to pay all these guys more and more and more and more and more. I do.
I talked about it on Friday because I did see Dolphins fans that were complaining that the Jags gave Trevor Lawrence this deal and what it was going to do to the Tua
Tough
deal, and I'm like,
crap.
Good. I was like, I'm glad that you had to choke down that Tyreek contract when you did because of the contract the Jags gave Christian Kirk. I'm glad that it boosted it up, right? And as I said on Friday, the Jags have made very clear how they feel about it. Trevor's the guy. Trevor's the franchise quarterback. They're willing to commit to that. Are you, Miami?
Right.
Are you willing to commit to Tua or aren't you? And what the Jags are paying the guy that they're willing to commit to, if you're looking going, oh my gosh, we're going to have to pay how much? I don't have that thought with Trevor Lawrence when we were talking about those numbers. I didn't have that. If they $55 million doesn't bother me on the contract for Trevor Lawrence. If there are Miami's fans that are going, I don't know, it's like really good. It's like, well, is he your guy or not? Make a decision.
Not our problem.
Right.
Right? I hope it makes it tough on you. I really do. I hope every team has
Absolutely.
a tough time dealing with this in some form or fashion. I misspoke. Tua actually 0-1 in the postseason.
He didn't play the other year.
He wasn't available.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was hurt.
Yeah, the
because
concussion
he's
stuff.
had this issue.
Yeah.
And, all right, so the one playoff game he played, he got beat 26-7 by Kansas City. A lot of people get beat by Kansas City, right?
It's really cold.
26-7, okay? Skylar Thompson, the previous January, put up 31 against the Bills. No, so there you go. Skylar Thompson. So maybe the Dolphins should build around Skylar Thompson because he's only one of 22 guys anyway, right?
Right.
You win generally by having a superior elite talent at quarterback on your roster. He has to play that way when it matters the most, right? So you can debate all these regular season numbers from Tua. Don't impress the hell out of me, man. They just don't. Lamar Jackson, all your MVPs, man, 2-5 in the postseason. And Trevor's undefeated head-to-head against you. I mean, again, we've said our piece on where things stand here. I'm just excited. It's a page turning, and now they got to do it, right? I mean, we're not going to sit here and go, oh, well, you know. I mean, got to go beat Tua week 1. Go beat the Miami Dolphins, right? It's not Trevor alone. But I'll say it. Trevor goes out and throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's going to be kind of hard, you know, unless he throws a crippling fourth-quarter interception.
Mm-hmm.
You can have 2 guys both play well. Only one of them is capable of winning on any given day. So there are circumstances that are going to dictate. That's why I get the bottom line of this poll. Win at least one Super Bowl. That's the tripwire. If they do that, everyone's going to say contract worth it, right? But that, to me, is not the minimum bar because it is just so difficult to say what's going to happen in any one given postseason run, any one given postseason game. By the way, win at least one Super Bowl, leading the way with 34.7% of the vote. Annual playoff contenders at 31.4%. Several deep playoff runs at 28.7%, and then just about 5% going with being a perennial Pro Bowler. Gibby, let's wrap it up.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
I don't know if I want to cool down, Tone. I feel I'm on a roll. I'm back. I'm ready. I'm full of energy. I'm enthusiastic. And look, today was just about one thing. Trevor Lawrence's deal and what now? Like, what standard do these numbers give you that he has to live up to? And money is money, and they're going to spend that salary cap money wherever. But they're fair or unfairly, quarterbacks get more credit for team success and more blame for team failure than anybody else. And we kind of kicked it around today. And this is a guy that yes, we feel can put themselves or help put the Jaguars in perennial playoff contention. But it's beyond that. He has to now. Okay, now this is what you're being asked to do, what you're being demanded to do. And I don't think he's going to shirk away from that responsibility, right? You got a guy ascending, in our opinion, he'll be 25 years old in October. Are you kidding me? I mean, the future is still all laid out there with this Jacksonville Jaguar organization. And for me, again, we've been covering this team for a lot of years, Tone, you and I. Been in a lot of press boxes together, a lot of pregame and postgame broadcasts together, and I have not had this kind of hope for sustained success in at least 20, maybe 25 years.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, a quarter of a century, you don't have to agree. I'm not saying Tony, just anyone listening. You don't have to agree. But at the same time, we're not going to sit here and feel that way and not tell you that. right? Oh, Dempsey and Smith are pumping you up once again, and da-da-da-da-da, and Sunshine Pumper. Look, all I can tell you is how I feel about the circumstance the team finds himself in, and I think right now, is it perfect? No. Perfect is we're the 2-time reigning Super Bowl champs, right? Yeah. And granted, okay, KC's got a leg up on the world. Let's go reel them in, right? Let's start by going out there and reestablishing who the team is to beat in the AFC South and let that team be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a fun day, man.
Yeah. I think you mentioned undefeated against Lamar. He is 1-1 against Lamar.
Oh, 1-1. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's all good.
For some reason, I thought he was 2-0.
He had the comeback 2 years ago, and then last year was
Oh, that's right.
The game situation at halftime.
That's right. But again, we're getting into, one outcome here, one outcome there. This guy's worth it, but Trevor's got a better record.
Absolutely.
This guy's not worth it. This guy, whatever. We'll find out if he's worth it.
Yeah.
Now, you can feel how you want to feel about it, and we will find out as the future plays out. Thank you for the correction. Good to be back. Gibby, thanks for filling in for Dylan Tyler Devitt Denmark today. And so salute to you, and we'll see Pockets back in studio with us tomorrow as well. Tuesday Top 5, look for the early post coming out later today, likely going with outside of Trevor Lawrence and Josh Allen, who are the 5 Jaguars that are most key to their on-field success in 2024. That is going to be an interesting combination. I think we're going to see a lot of the same names replicated in some of the top 5s. The order in which they come in, I think it's going to be fascinating as well. So we'll delve into that tomorrow. Have some fun with it, everybody. For Tony Smith, for Andrew Gibson, I'm Mike Dempsey. Good to be back. Thanks for having me. Thanks for voting in the poll today. Still time if you haven't. So hop on there and do it. We've got Helmets and Heels coming your way next. So keep it right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the JOI studios at 1010XL.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Florida State. Subscribe to 10